In this video, we'll talk about 6.5 pennies that you should be looking for in your pocket change. Hey, what's up, coin fam? Finding rare and valuable coins is like hitting the lottery. That's why it's important to know what makes a coin valuable. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how to identify some rare and valuable pennies that have been found in pocket change. These are rare coins. That's why it's important to know how to identify them. First up, this is a 2014 Shield cent. This is the most current design for the back of the Lincoln cent. This particular penny is in nice shape. It was graded Mint State 66 red on a scale from 1 to 70. The reason you want to know about this modern penny is because it's a doubled die. During the creation of the die, which is the part that strikes the coin, the master hub rotated, causing doubling on the die. This doubling was so slight it resulted in extra thickness on some of the design features, most notably on the date and some of the letters in Liberty. Look at the misshapen curvature of the 2 and the extra thickness at the base of the 2 and here on the 4. And it's hard to miss the thickness of the top and bottom parts of the 0 juxtaposed to the deflated portions here and here. And here's a close-up of the word Liberty. You can see the extra thickness of some of the letters. This is best viewed under a microscope, magnifying glass, or loupe at about 5 times magnification. This DDO penny sold at auction for $456. If you found one in better condition, it would be worth even more. This next penny has been on the want list for many, many years. My father told me he used to check his change when he was a kid looking for this classic double die. Which one is it? How about the 1955 double die obverse? There's nothing subtle about the doubling on this one. In God We Trust, Liberty, and 1955. This doubling is so pronounced, if it was on the portrait, you'd think Lincoln had an identical twin. That should probably go down as one of the worst coin jokes ever spoken. How about you post your worst coin joke in the comments below? This elusive variety was graded about uncirculated 58 brown. Pennies graded red are generally worth more money, but I love the way the old bronze pennies turned this caramel color. This one sold at Heritage Auctions for $2,880. We've checked out a couple DDO varieties. Now it's time to check out a different variety. Here's a newer penny to look for. This is a 1992 Denver minted Lincoln cent. You can tell it was minted in Denver by the look of despair on the face of Lincoln, or by the letter D under the date. There's nothing unusual about this coin on the obverse, and when you take a look at the reverse, unless you know your coins or you watch my recent close and wide AM video, you won't see anything unusual. If you know anything about cams, you know that the 1992 D reverse should be the wide AM version. This 1992 D reverse is the close AM variety, and it's worth some pretty good money. Some of the 1992 D pennies were minted with the wrong reverse die. You can tell by the spacing of the A and M in America. The difference can be hard to tell unless you compare it to the wide AM version. You're basically looking for the A and the M to be touching. There are a few other ways to identify the wrong reverse for this year. You can learn more about them and other wide and close AMs to look for by clicking the link at the end of this video. This penny was graded Mint State 65 red and sold at auction for $8,400. Take a look at this 1971 Philadelphia minted Lincoln cent. If you know your double dies, it's pretty obvious what the attraction is on this one. You can see obvious doubling on the date, Liberty, and God. A few dozen of this variety have been certified as Mint State, but not too many of them has been as high as a Mint State 66 red, like this one here. This beautiful coin sold at auction for $10,350. How many times have you received change and looked down to see a handful of dirty pennies like this one here? This is a 1982 Denver minted Lincoln cent. It's obviously been in circulation for quite some time. It was submitted for grading and came back about uncirculated 58. This penny sold at auction for $10,800. So what are we missing? This penny is actually an extremely rare transition error. In late 1982, the U.S. Mint started using a 95% zinc planchet to replace the 95% copper planchet. There were some problems with the design of the year and the new planchet being used, so the date was changed. Not the year, just the design. There is a large date version and a small date version. There are a few differences, but the easiest way to tell the difference for me is the shape of the two. I have a video that goes into this in a lot more detail, but the bottom line is that the 2 on the small date variety is curved in the middle. There are also differences between the 8 holes, the space between the date and the edge of the coin, as well as the spacing of other numbers in the date. The 1982D small date was believed to be used with the new 95% zinc planchet only. But there was a coin nerd out there in Minnesota, sorry Paul Malone, weighing all of the 1982D small date transition year pennies. 2.5 grams, 2.47 grams, 2.5 grams, and on until he came across the only one discovered at that time, weighing in at 3.07 grams. The first 95% copper 1982 Denver minted small date Lincoln cent ever discovered. There are plenty of other variety 1982 large and small date no mint mark pennies from Philadelphia in copper and zinc. There are plenty Denver minted 1982 large date pennies in copper and zinc. The rare and valuable transition year 1982 penny you're looking for is the 1982D small date, which weighs 3.11 grams, give or take a few tenths of a gram. Get yourself an inexpensive food scale. You can check out the links in the description below and make sure to weigh all of your 1982D small date pennies. You might as well weigh your 1983 pennies too. If you find a 95% copper 1983, you also have a rare transition error. When it comes to obvious double dies, you've got the 1955 double die, the 1969S double die, and the third most obvious double die is the 1972 Lincoln DDO. You can see the obvious doubling on In God We Trust and Liberty. It's not as obvious, although it's still obvious AF on the date. This one was graded Mint State 67 red. At the time of the sale of this one here, there were only 24 in this grade and color, and only one in a higher grade. This 1972 DDO sold at auction for $12,925. Take a look at this 1983 Lincoln cent. You've probably heard of grease errors that prevent the details of a design from being pressed into a planchet, and you might even blame grease for the missing letters of God and the word in. But missing letters or details is also a sign of a weak strike, possibly from a broken or damaged die. In this case, it's a damaged die, and this damage resulted in a fairly large cud on the reverse of this penny. A cud is a die break that affects the edge of a coin. A bigger cud usually results in a more valuable coin. This penny was graded about uncirculated 58 on a scale from 1 to 70, and it sold at auction for $1,320. If you learned something, or if you think my voice is sexy, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.